thanks so much for coming back to my channel. As always, I'm so happy that you're here. So today I'm going to be talking about Brushes 101. I'm going to be going over my favorite brushes for eyes and face and each one's purpose. So I hope that you get a lot of educational use out of this video. It's really fun and it just kind of goes over my favorite brushes and what exactly they do to get you flawless makeup. So if you want to see this tutorial, keep watching. Alright, so the first part I'm going to do is the eyes. And so I picked out some of my favorite eye brushes here. These are all my babies that I use on a daily basis. I do have a whole jar of eye brushes, but these are the ones that I reach for the most. And I'm going to go over each one and what portion of the eye I use them on and why I think they'd be a great fit in your kit, and especially if you're just getting started, why these are worth the investment. So the first brush, and you probably will see me use this all the time, is my must-have, my MAC 224 brush. And it does look like this. It is like a, it's a blending brush, so it's a fluffy, it's tight at the bottom and then it fluffs out. So it's like a dome fluffy brush is what I call it. So this is great for the crease. I always use this in my crease, and I'll show you. I always use it as a transition when I use my transition shade. So you always want to keep it right in the crease with this brush. You can use it with a nice light touch. It's really going to give you a gradual effect, and it's going to allow your colors to really blend together and look flawless. So yeah, MAC 224. I don't know what the price is, but it's definitely absolutely worth the investment. And if you see my videos, I use this in every video because it's like a staple, and I use it on all my clients. So yeah, MAC 224, and again, that is a wonderful crease brush. Alright, and then moving on to the crease, I also have my MAC 217 brush, which again is a must-have staple. This baby has definitely gotten some wear out of it. Now this is a dome brush as well, but it's a lot more dense. The fibers are more closely together, so it's going to put the product exactly where you place it. So I use my MAC 224 to start my crease, and then I take my MAC 217 to go ahead and define the crease. Like I said, when you put your product on this brush, it's going to put it, wherever you put it, it's going to put it exactly where you're touching. Whereas the fluffier brushes are going to kind of move that product. So this is great, especially if you have eyes like mine, where I don't have a defined crease. This brush is really great to go in and define your crease. And yeah, must have. I'm sure, like I said, if you see my videos, this is another one that I always use. And these two together is like, if you wanted to just get these two for your creases to define your crease, like you would be set and you wouldn't have to get any more brushes. But I have a couple more that I do like to add to my arsenal. The next one that I am in love with, I can't live without, is my Sigma E40 Tapered Blending. Now this is like the MAC 224, hour. It's a little bit bigger. Now this one I go in, this one I go in and I blend out the crease. So if there's any harshness when you do your crease and you have like a harsh line, this brush is amazing to go in and like buff out any harshness. And I usually take it clean and I'll go like right where I see the line, if I see like a harsh line, and I'll go and just buff it out. This brush is like the holy grail for that. It'll give you the most seamless lines, like they just look like they melt into your skin. So if you have a lot of problems with like getting that harshness, or you're putting the makeup on too thick and you're not getting like a gradual response, this brush is like, you have to have it. It is one of my favorites. I'll have to link it down below. I don't know what the prices are. I'm pretty sure I get it on Amazon, but all Sigma brushes are just like to die for. But this one is my top one. All right. And then moving on, I did add, let's see here. Now this is a liner shader brush from Unique. Even though I don't sell Unique anymore, I still do love their products, and I think they have some awesome brushes. And this one's nice because it's kind of a duo. So this one I would use to actually place the shadow just on my lid. A lot of people will take this brush and use it in their crease, and it's just too dense for that. So if you use a brush like this in your crease, you really want to switch to something that's a little bit more fluffy, like the blending brushes I showed you. This should strictly be for on your on your lid, and really only there, unless you're going for like a harsh look. or like a really defined crease, you really want to keep this brush on the lid. Again, this is a brush that when you pick up product and you place it, it's going to stay there. It doesn't really blend. This brush is not really for blending. It's really mainly for placing, you know, your product there. So that's what I use that side for. And then the liner side you can use for eyeliner if you want to do like a smoky eye. But mainly I use this side for my brows because it's nice and sharp. I don't know if you can see it there. It works great for the brows, and I love that it's a duo because most of the time duos aren't good quality, but this brush is really good quality. So this would be, like I said, you want to use this for the lower part of your lid, and then you can use it for your eyeliner or your brows. And then I have two more brushes for the eyes. The first one I have here, it doesn't have a name, it's an off label, but it's like a flat shader brush. Looks like that. It's a little dirty, I apologize. This one is great if you're picking up like loose pigments or you're doing glitter. Because it's so dense and flat, you can really like apply it directly where you want it. It's also great for like the inner corner if you just want to highlight your inner corner. This one's really great for that. So I use this one strictly for concealers on my eyes, like I said, loose pigments and glitter. This is a great one to have, and you don't have to spend a lot of money on these. I know e.l.f. has them. As long as they're dense, and I use synthetic, that's really, you know, that's all you really need. It's a good one to add to your makeup kit. And then last but not least, which should be in every makeup kit as well, is a pencil brush. It looks like this. Now this brush I use to smoke out my outer corners, create that outer V, and then I also use it on my lower line. Again, because this brush is a pencil brush and it's so stiff, where you place that product is really going to be where it's going to stay. It's not really good for blending, but it is good for if you want to put right in that outer corner and then use like a blending brush, you can smoke it out. But yeah, you definitely want one of these. They're great for the lower lash line too, because it's going to give you a really precise, you know, line where you put your product. It's not going to take it too far down and make you look like you have raccoon eyes. So yeah, so that's the first part of this. Like I said, these are the six, I can't count today. These are the 6 brushes that I would, you know, if you're just beginning, I would definitely invest some money in. And I hope that I explained it well enough where they go. You can ask questions in the bottom, of course, if you need more explaining, but crease brushes right here, these 3 blending brushes is what I typically use. You don't really need more than that. And then these 3 for lid is what I go for, and they really work for me, and that's typically what I keep on my clients too. I don't really use a whole bunch of the other brushes I have. These are the ones that I've kind of stick to over the last 5 years. So yeah. Alright, and then next we're going to move on to face brushes. Alright, so for face brushes, I kind of picked a lot because I love face brushes. There's just so many different techniques you can use that you can get different finishes, and I love them. So I have a lot of face brushes, but I did try to narrow it down to my favorite ones. And the first one I picked that every person should have is a beauty blender. Now this is my go-to product for applying foundation and translucent powder. And you know, you can get these at the drugstore, you can get these at TJ Maxx. They have a really good selection, but I do love my original beauty blender. I love this baby. It is my favorite brush, and it just gives me such a flawless application, and I just feel like it pushes everything into the skin. So yeah, I think if you don't have a beauty blender, try one from a drugstore, or try one, like I said, TJ Maxx has a really good selection, and they're pretty decently priced, so I would go there and start with that. So yeah, my baby, I need to get a new one because my son, he bit the top of it, but I'm still keeping it because I love it. Alright, and moving on, the next brush that I love, I've had this literally, I started doing makeup 5 years ago, and this was the first brush that I bought, and I still have it because I love it. It's by Sonia Kashuk, I don't know how to say her name, and it's a stippling brush. It looks like that. It's like, has these little, they're kind of like spread out, I guess you would say. But I use this, it also gives me a really good finish. So you would like dip it in your product, and then you would just stipple on your skin. So you would put it there and then kind of like do circular motions and blend it out. I really love this brush. It gives a really a nice finish comparable to the Beauty Blender. I don't like brushes like, I'll show you, like this, or like, let me see, I guess like this. A lot of people use brushes like these. These are not good for blending in your foundation. They are going to leave your skin streaky, and you don't want that. You want a flawless look, like you want it to look like your skin. So a stippling brush, if you aren't a fan of the Beauty Blender, is a really good option. And you can get these at Target or online. And her stuff is awesome. I've had this for 5 years, and it's like, I've had no shedding. I've had no problems with it. It is absolutely one of the best brushes that I own. And then the next brush, so that would be the foundation, and you can use that for primer. And then the next brush I would use is, I love this. I just got this brush from e.l.f. It's a pointed foundation brush, but I use this brush for translucent powder. So I'll pick it up and I would do it right under my eyes, like that. So this was like a great find for that idea. I don't like it for foundation. I would never use this for foundation. However, I do use it for my translucent powder. I love that it comes to a point because I can really get into like the corners of my eyes and press it. I can't talk. I swear I can't talk sometimes. And press it into my skin, and especially in the inner corners, because those are hard to get to with the Beauty Blender. So sometimes I do use this brush, and I love it, and it's cheap. So even better. All right, now moving on. I love, this is by BS Mall Face. This is an angled brush. Now I use this brush for my powders, so I would go in and set any like powder that I'm going to use to set the rest of my makeup. Like if I've set my concealer, I'll go in with powder and set the rest of my skin. I love this brush. You want to make sure you want to get a slanted brush. For me anyways, they work really well because it just gets into the skin. I love the slant. I feel like it applies it nice and evenly. And yeah, I just really like this brush. I think it's a nice add-on. And this one I got from Amazon. It's just off-label. But I really like the slant. So if you're looking for like a nice powder brush that's really going to go into your skin, set your makeup, and make it look flawless. It also helps diminish pores. You want something comparable to this bad boy. Alright, and then the next brand I'm going with, I'm obsessed with. I don't know if you guys have heard of it. I'm sure you've heard of it. I don't know if you've had any brushes from it. Real Techniques is probably my favorite brand of brushes besides my MAC brushes. They're literally the best brushes I've ever. They're face brushes anyways. I don't care for their eye brushes. But their face brushes are tops. Like, they work so good. And you can get them at any drugstore. I've seen them literally everywhere. And I have, the first one I'll show you is their contouring brush. It looks like this. It's very dense. It's pretty much self-explanatory. You want to go in where you contour. This really hollows out. It gives a nice dimension, and then you can kind of flip it up. But this, again, it'll place your product exactly where you want it. That's why I really like it. If I want a sharp contour, I always go for this bad boy. Again, that's Real Techniques. And these brushes are everywhere. You really should invest in them. They have like starter kits. They are awesome. Again, I've had these brushes forever. They don't shed. They don't break. They're just, girl, they are awesome. The next one I have from Real Techniques, I use as a highlighting brush. It looks like this. It is a fluffy dome, like a larger dome brush. Needs to be cleaned. It says contour brush, however, I do not use it for contour. I use it to place my highlight right here, my nose. It's so soft and it really places the product nicely, and you can blend it in really well, which I love. That's why I really love this brush. And again, Real Techniques, you can get it at any drugstore. And then this brush here is another Real Techniques brush. It says it's a buffing brush. This brush I use for my cheeks when I apply blush. It's a little bit more dense, which I like because I can really place that product, and then you can also go in and buff it out. And so yeah, this is the buffing brush by Real Techniques. You can take a look at it. It's dense. Love it. I love my Real Techniques brushes. The girls that made those just like blew it out of the park. And then last but not least, I did throw this one in here. This is a setting brush. I will go ahead and use this to set sometimes my translucent powder, but I also use it to highlight as well because it is a little bit smaller like this. I like to use it to like strobe my forehead and then also place it under my eyebrows and then on my Cupid's bow. So yeah, those are all my brushes. I also threw this one in. It's from Sephora. This is just, it's called an airbrush foundation brush. This one I like just to kind of like when I'm done with my makeup, I'll just take this one clean and just kind of blend everything in. So yeah, that's all my brushes. Well, that's not all my brushes. I have a whole crap load more, but these ones are my go-to brushes that I'm always reaching for in my videos and on my clients. I feel like give us the best results of any makeup application. Guys, thank you so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed this video, and I hope you did get some educational use out of it so that you can do your makeup, you know what these brushes do, and you know where to use them on your face. So yeah, here's all the brushes. All my babies, I love them. Make sure you take good care of your brushes, clean them, and you will have use for them for years to come. So yeah, if you want links, I will put them in the description bar below. Please subscribe before you leave. I'm still giving away my NYX Advent Pop palette. And yeah, subscribe and let me know what you thought of this video. What brushes do you love? Because I'd love to add some to my arsenal. Alright guys, thanks for watching.